Thanks for checking out the BoshNRoll channel. If you want to see me play your deck, hang out with me in the amazing BoshNRoll community in Discord, access to my lists and sideboard guides before tournaments, book an individual coaching session, or just generally want to support what's going on here, check out the Patreon and YouTube membership options. For the finest Magic the Gathering apparel on the market, use code BoshNRoll for 10% off your order at coalesceapparel.shop. Moxfield.com is the easiest way to build a Magic deck online. If you want to play what I'm playing, use my affiliate link to support the channel while you shop for cards at tcgplayer.com and play any deck anytime on Magic Online with a cardhoarder.com loan account. Thanks for being here. Let's go play some Magic. Welcome back for another BoshNRoll Legacy video. Today, at the request of Patreon subscriber Returned Explorer, I am playing Rakdos Helm. This deck based around the combo of Helm of Obedience plus a Void effect, whether it be Leyline or Dothy Voidwalker. The combo here, if you're not familiar, Leyline of the Void and Dothy Voidwalker both read, if a card would be put into an opponent's graveyard from anywhere, exile it instead. Helm of Obedience reads, target opponent mills a card, then repeats this process until a creature or X cards have been put into their graveyard this way, whichever comes first. If the cards are not entering their graveyard, then a creature or X cards will never hit their graveyard. For 4 mana plus 1 to activate it, you do have to pay 1. You can't X equals 0. That's printed on the card. X can't be 0. For 5 mana with a Leyline or Void effect in play, you exile your opponent's deck. That's the combo here. This is pretty commonly seen in mono black shells with Karn the Great Creator. And Return Explorer had a couple of stipulations on this list. His backstory is he just wants to play FNM level with cards he likes and play patterns he enjoys, and wants, within that frame, his deck to be as good as possible. That's a pretty normal place to be for a Magic player. If you're not trying to win your next Grand Prix or make it to the Pro Tour, you just want to show up on Friday nights and play Magic you enjoy, hell yeah, that's a great way to engage with Magic. And Returned Explorer does not like Karn the Great Creator. Karn is pretty standard in these decks. It gives you a toolbox, it gives you a win con, it gives you extra copies of Helm of Obedience because you play 3 in the main, then 1 in the sideboard Karn can wish for. We've seen that throughout Legacy, especially in the last few months. These mono black decks have really taken off. But Return Explorer just doesn't like that, so we're not going to play it. Things that Return Explorer does enjoy, though, are Faithless Looting and Hymn to Tarok. I am not a hard sell on Hymn to Tarok. I also love casting this card. Shove it directly into the deck. Let's go. Faithless Looting, this one takes a little more build around, because one of the things that might not be obvious about Faithless Looting from just looking at it from a newer player or less theoretically advanced perspective is 1 red, draw 2 cards, discard 2 cards. For 1 red mana, I get to make all these changes and see all these new cards. That's pretty cool. Except this is card disadvantage, because you draw 2, discard 2. The effect of this card is net even on cards, but you have to spend the card itself. Faithless Looting counts as a card. This is functionally activating Bazaar of Baghdad. You're losing 3 cards to draw 2 new ones. And in order to take advantage of an effect like that, you either have to be racing towards the end of the game, which our combo does check that box. If your opponent is dead to the 1 card left in your hand, it doesn't matter that you just lost 2 cards to get it there. The other way you can break the parity of Faithless Looting is by using your graveyard as a resource. If you don't care that a card is in your graveyard, or in many cases, if it's better in your graveyard, then Faithless Looting kind of becomes draw 3 cards, discard 2 cards instead. Or draw 2 cards, discard 1 card, if that helps you think about it better. Oh, my monthly rewards are here for Magic Online. Thanks, right in the middle of my speech. Anyway, Faithless Looting is not just a card you can put in a deck. You have to have a plan for it. And the original version of this that was sent to me had the Helm combo. I like that. It did not include Kroxa Death's Hunger, though, which is a card that is a great Rakdos thing to be doing. It also breaks the parity on Faithless Looting, because this is both a card that you love to have in your graveyard, and it's a card that wants other cards in your graveyard. Whether you discard the Kroxa itself, which is the nuts, or just feed 2 cards into it. Actually, if you feed 3 cards into it, because the looting itself goes to the graveyard, as we've discussed, then that can get Kroxa escaping much quicker. Fable of the Mirror Breaker is another similar thing. This is just a great mid-range value thing. It ramps you with card selection, and eventually it's a threat. But once again, you are doing better with your discard draw effects if you're actually using your graveyard somehow. Return Explorer mentioned trying white or Lingering Souls as a way to break the parity on, well, not really parity, but break the card disadvantage on Faithless Looting. And I think Kroxa does that without adding a third color to the deck. Another change I made to the deck was there was one Wasteland, one Ghost Quarter, one Crucible of Worlds when this was sent to me originally, and no Ancient Tombs. And while the idea of recurring Crucible always excites me, you know I'm about that Pox life, and Ghost Quarter plus Opposition Agent is pretty gnarly as well. That was not a significant enough package in the deck to really warrant its inclusion. Crucible does help break the card disadvantage of looting because you could discard any number of lands and you just get them back later. That is a good way to do that. But I think I'd want 2 or 3 Crucibles in the deck before I'm really playing to that. Just having a 3-mana 1-of that you have no way to tutor, I don't really like it. Return Explorer, if you don't like Kroxa, you could play 2 or 3 Crucibles in this spot and get a similar effect, but I want more than one graveyard card if we're going to have 6 looting effects in the deck. Then the inclusion of Ancient Tomb is because this deck is pretty mana hungry. Ancient Tomb doesn't help us cast Thoughtseize, Voidwalker, Hymn to Tarok, or Kroxa, which is kind of a beating, but it does give us turn 2 Opposition Agent, turn 2 Fable of the Mirror Breaker. We are trying to win with effectively what's a 5-drop. We need to get up to 4 mana and then another 1 somehow. Ancient Tomb helps in all of those departments. And the last thing that was on my mind when I was tuning this deck is the Lotus Petals. There were 4, but I wanted another land. Actual stable mana source. Missing land drops is always tough in decks like these without Brainstorm or Ponder to sort them out. Lotus Petal is a nice burst of mana when you want a burst of mana. The other mono black decks are on Chromox, which is stickier, but also goes down a card when you play it. Monocolor decks get to be a little pushier with Chrome Mox than 2-color decks do, because if you imprint Faithless Looting, then that doesn't cast most of the spells in the deck. If you imprint Hymn to Tarok, it doesn't cast Faithless Looting. The addition of Kroxa as a gold card is pretty nice with Chrome Mox, but then you're pitching your Kroxa, which is one of the core engines of the deck. That's a tough one. You may not even want Lotus Petal. You may just want more Ancient Tombs or more Urborgs or something, but we'll keep an eye on Lotus Petal throughout the league. My concern about this main deck is that there is 0 removal in it. There's a Sudden Edict and a bunch of Pyroblasts in the sideboard, but no way to actually remove a resolved creature. In the main deck, we are kind of racing towards the combo. We have Thoughtseize and Hymn to Tarok and Kroxa to hit creatures before they come into play through the discard outlets. But once it's in play, we actually have to just race it, just beat it, because we have no way to remove it. I did just talk myself into Plague Engineer in the sideboard, though. There's 2 Goblin Rabble Masters in the sideboard that I think are pretty cool. That's a cool pivot that red gives us access to, but I still think Plague Engineer is just a better place to be. Yeah, that makes me a little more comfortable. Deck building is an ongoing process. You can be in the middle of explaining a card and then change it. It's all good. What we're here to do. I'm actually going to cut one of the Pyroblasts for another Sudden Edict as well, for the non-Murktide matchups. Okay, we're reaching for the sideboard to beat creature decks. The Void effects do a lot against the format. There's a lot of invisible power in this deck of just turn 0 Leyline effects almost every deck in the format, at least a little bit. Gothy Voidwalker doesn't show up until you can cast it. You don't get the turn 0, but it'll have a similar effect on the game. Then with Voidwalker, you also get to play your opponent's deck. If you Voidwalker and then Thoughtseize and take like a Grizzlebrand or something, you just have that card now. Good stuff. Okay, that's the deck. I did not expect to spend 11 minutes on this deck tech, but here we are. Building with restrictions is sometimes a lot of fun. It inspires things you wouldn't do normally, and I'm excited to do some Faithless Looting business. Let's get into it. I'm on the draw in round 1 with no disruption, no void, but a hyper fast helm. I'm going to mulligan this. This is not where I want to be. I think I'd keep this with a Leyline though, and just try to turn 2 my opponent. I'll send it as it is though. Yikes. I mean, here is a hand that I would keep with Chrome Mox, but I'm not keeping with Lotus Petal. Already noticed Lotus Petal having a problem in the league. This being a no-lander is a heartbreaker. If this Lotus Petal was land, or if any of these non-Dark Ritual cards at random was a land, I'd be in. I'm going to send this one as well. Okay, now we're cooking. Keep this. I'm going to get rid of looting, and I think it's Lotus Petal. Sucks to mulligan mana in a deck that is trying to resolve a 5-mana play, but multi 5, that's how that looks. Dark Ritual gets us out of this. Okay, we're playing against Delver. That is a deck that uses its graveyard. It's also a deck that plays Daze and Wasteland. Gotta watch out for those. Brainstorm in the upkeep. Okay, without their graveyard, they're getting aggressive here and just trying to flip Delver and push for damage. He succeeded in flipping Delver. There was a spell somewhere in their top 10 cards. And there's the Ponder. They just revealed all these going into the void. Dragon's Rage Channeler can't get Delirious. Murktide Regent basically can't be cast. But we are under the gun against the Delver on the draw. And this is where the no removal in the main deck is going to hurt. I was about to cast Hymn to Turok, but I'm actually going to play around Daze and make sure this Hymn to Turok resolves. I think it's going to be important. We have hit 2 lands. We're just chugga towards 4 mana here. I really want to see Dark Ritual or Ancient Tomb. I'd like to accelerate this Helm of Obedience at least a little bit. Did not shuffle. They hit a land drop, had a second Delver. Okay. And that's 5 mana, but we are heavily under the gun from these Delvers. The Turok hit Wasteland and Dragon's Rage Channeler. We have this Delver flips, which they just pondered, so it should. Yep. Revealing Daze. Right, I need Dark Ritual right now. I can't crack this fetch because I'm dead. Okay, I can go to 1 and get 1 more turn here. Ancient Tomb is off now. It has to be Dark Ritual. That is if they don't just Lightning Bolt me. It is unfortunate they came up with 2 Delvers here. Dragon's Rage Channeler wouldn't have hit this hard. Murktide's uncastable. Had to be 2 Delvers. And they did make the decision to flip it early, which paid out big time. Dark Ritual? Okay. Mull to 5 got me there. And Delver got me there, but mulling to 5 didn't help. Bring in all these removal spells. I'm going to think about Liliana. I like the Sudden Edict and the Pyroblast. Things that are clunky and awkward here. Opposition Agent isn't great, unless I just cheese them out on turn 1 with it. Kroxa is fine to good. I didn't show them any reason to bring in Graveyard Hate this game. I like him, I like Thoughtseize. Plague Engineer on human hits Dragon's Rage Channeler and unflipped Delvers, which is not nothing, especially in a deck that's designed to not let your opponent have Delirium. I actually think Lotus Petal is cuttable. Use my lands, do what I need to do here. Bring in Liliana, Sudden Edict, Red Blast. Is anything worse than Opposition Agent here that I could get Oppo back in the deck? Faithless Looting and Fable are kind of in that middle zone. Yeah, this just isn't a deck that does a lot of searching other than its lands. If I don't turn 1 this Opposition Agent, it's just not going to matter. Okay. I'll keep the cards in that are more resilient to Lightning Bolt. And I'll do it like this. Oh, is it Kroxa time? I think so. Keep. No Leyline kind of stinks. What it is. And I'll lead on my Polluted Delta and pass. Hope they live in fear of Dark Ritual Oppo. Leyline right on time. I'm just going to fetch another Badlands here because if they Wasteland, I want to keep my red. Little awkward that I'm just straight up feeding the Graveyard Engine after last game. I spoke so highly about shutting it down. They'd lost a Force of Negation here. I think I'm going to Kroxa, whether they cast a spell or not. Okay. They fetched. I think Urborg play is fine. Or fetch gets me another red source. Just protected from Wasteland all the way around. I'm just going to Kroxa again. Playing around Daze, softening up their hand. Powering up their Murktide Regent. You know how it is. Discarded a Lightning Bolt that time. Aggressive iteration, just undoing these two Kroxas. Bobble, okay. Bobble's kind of low impact. I'm not mad about that. Now's the important. If they have, I mean, they discarded Force of Negation early on. I suspect they have more counter spells. Just jamming Liliana into this thing might be inadvisable. Bobbling me in my upkeep. Play around discard. I'll hardcast this Leyline. This might be worth counter magic, and if it's not, I'll be happy to have it in play. And it's the card they just saw off the bobble. We get to get that information out of the way. It's also a card for Kroxa. Now we're in trouble to a Murktide Regent, because even if I resolve Liliana, they have a second creature. And Murktide it is. Okay. Card mode activated. Unless I just win. An 8. Okay, I can play Helm this turn. I could also play Kroxa right now, but that doesn't matter. I'm just dead in 2 hits from Murktide. I could play around Daze with Leyline, but if I do that, then I can't Helm next turn. I think I just have to Leyline and hope that Helm works next turn. A little late to the party. It does stop DRC from getting delirious. Thoughtseize probably. Nope, Thoughtseize doesn't even help, because I would need 5 mana to Helm. Okay, moment of truth. I don't feel good about this, but if any play wins the game, it's this one. Yeah, I didn't think so. Discarding that Force of Negation so early just told me they had another counterspell anyway. GG. Stupid Delver. But stupid Delver aside, the hand I mulligan game 1 that I would have kept with Chrome Mox, that was a card that I wasn't playing with. And no removal in the main deck. We just died coast to coast from a Delver in game 1, where if we would have been able to remove it, that would have been pretty trivial, I think. Just deck building thoughts. On to the next round. This video is sponsored by Moxfield.com, the easiest way to build Magic decks online. Moxfield supports over 30 formats, including Legacy and every other format you'll see on this channel. They have multiple customizations so you can view your deck how you want. Text view, stacks, grid, custom grouping by type, subtype, color, light mode, dark mode. However you want to see your deck, they can provide it for you. My favorite feature is you can choose your set printing, make the deck look exactly how you want it to. The deck screen features expandable sections that show you what tokens your deck makes, your recent change history to the deck, stats about mana curve and opening hand distribution, mana cost distribution. You can deal out sample hands and even play test the deck. Island Ponder. You know I'm keeping this one. This site has everything. Follow me on Moxfield.com to keep up with decks I'm playing for the channel and what I'm up to in paper. I'll see you there. On the draw for round 2 with another one of these Lotus Petal hands. There are 20 lands in the deck. I did mention replacing Lotus Petals with just more lands, because we're not really built for speed anyway. This is the second time that would have come up. I'm going to mulligan this. This one's a keeper. And I'm going to send one of the Lotus Petals to the bottom. And then put my Leyline into play. And hope it's good in this matchup. I recognize this username. This is someone I've played against some number of times recently. I don't really remember what they play, though. Uh-oh. This looks bad for me. Fable the Mirror Breaker. It's the mirror match. They have a mana engine in play. Thought seizing them now doesn't do a whole lot. Could power out this Voidwalker. If I do that, that's my red source for Faithless Looting gone. But I think I need Voidwalker to keep up here. Now they can't discard any real cards to Fable, or I just play them. And my Thoughtseize gets an extra layer if there's like a Chandra Torch of Defiance in their hand. But they're just going to play that next turn if that's the case. Oh, Force of Will. What the shit? Okay. I don't know what this Force of Will Fable the Mirror Breaker deck is, but that was really bad for me. Force pitching Daze. You have Daze in your Ancient Tomb Fable the Mirror Breaker deck. Well, there's Helm. 2 cards in their hand right now. Let's have a look at them. Take a big Chandra, I hope. Force of Will and Brainstorm. I'm going to take Force of Will because that will be hard castable soon anyway. And now that Helm's in my hand, there is a plan to end this game. But I'm under real pressure. And here's the problem with Faithless Looting. Even if I draw a land, to cast looting. I don't have a card I'm happy to discard outside of it. I basically need Dark Ritual. Brainstormed into Ponder, spent their treasures to do it. Reflection's going to be awake next turn. Very little I can do about that with my deck. Did not shuffle the Ponder, I hate that. And here's what I was saying about Faithless Looting not even being a card you can really cast. Copying their Goblin. They're going to attack for 4, make 2 treasures here. I go to 8, or I go to 10, then I fetch to 9. Get theoretically 1 more turn to figure this out. How about Dark Ritual off the top? Position Agent. Not really what the doctor ordered here. Now if I Faithless Looting, I get to keep 2 cards, and I'm looking for... I'm going to keep the Helm and whatever mana source I find. Unless I get Halt Reachered here or some shit. Could be anything in this deck. Okay. On my own Fable. It's pretty funny. I'm going to make my land drop and hope that I draw another one. I don't think I want to flashback looting right now. All that would do is hope to mill Kroxa. There's no other graveyard stuff. Maybe that's worth doing. It puts me to 8 instead of 9, and they are attacking in 4-point chunks. That could be a whole turn if I just fetch there off the clock in the hopes of milling a card. Another Brainstorm. Go for it. Copying their Goblin again. F5. Come on, mana source. Okay. We've seen Daze, so I'm going to play around it. Well, I can't play around it because then I can't activate the Helm anyway. And I can at least get the Helm to resolve. Okay, here's Helm. You've used 2 Force of Wills already. Do you have a third in your top 14 cards? They Daze, I can pay. Okay, dope. Let's just hope you don't have a bounce spell, I guess. I'm going to mill them in their upkeep. Hope giving them Ancient Tomb didn't change too much here. Target you with Helm. A bounce spell clears Leyline, and then they get to draw. They get to attack me to 1. Then I'm on the draw mana source and replay Leyline plan. Okay, I'm glad I did this in the upkeep, because if they had done this in my end step, they would have just played Brazen Borrower and killed me with it. But now I get a chance to draw a mana source and make this play again. Now Ancient Tomb doesn't work, though. It has to be Dark Ritual, Lotus Petal, or a different land. Or they could just cast some creature with larger power. Oh, right, they can give the Borrower haste and just bash me now. Okay, yep, they figured it out. Doing it in the end step didn't matter. Yep, got me for Xaxes here. Card wasn't a land. Don't feel bad for me. Okay, we're playing against some crazy blue-red prison deck, which, strangely enough, I have played on this channel, which I guess is proof that I've just played everything at this point. Do I want Edict or Liliana? I want the Pyroblast. The blue spells did matter that game. Force of Will got me. Brazen Borrower got me. Which deck searching is this opponent going to do? Probably less than average, but they are a 2-color deck with Ancient Tomb. Maybe they just didn't draw fetch land that whole game, but they do play them. I actually think I want my Lotus Petals with the Red Blast in the deck. Just being able to hold up Red Blast while I do all my other stuff is going to be important. I love Opposition Agent, but I am shaving it a lot. Discard spells seem really important. Kroxa seems really good. Yeah, the last cut here is a Lotus Petal. I don't like it, but that's what I'm doing. Okay. This hand has Ancient Tomb. It accelerates Helm. I'll try this. We are in the bizarre Baghdad world where I just cast Faithless Looting and hope that the cards that line up are ones I want to discard. Faithless Looting, let's go. Show me the Kroxa. No Kroxa. Probably just discarding a land and a Red Blast here. Or 2 lands. If I discard 2 lands, I'm hanging out at 4 mana with 2 Pyroblasts up. Basic Swamp can go for sure. And it's either Red Blast or Urborg. I think it's Urborg. Okay. Don't love that. But yeah, that's the fair Faithless Looting that I was talking about, not feeling great. Okay, I was rewarded for discarding a land. I'm not just going to aggro flashback looting here. Now I'm holding up Pyroblast. Fetch land's confirmed. I'm glad I left 1 Oppo in, but kind of wish I had more. Okay, hitting land drops, feeling good about that. The Red Blasts are alive to fight over my Helm. I don't think I want to fight over Ponders when I know their deck is full of counter magic. A Leyline of the Void. Okay, I'll fetch the swamp and play Leyline. Gotta start somewhere. Leyline's in. Good news. That gives me 2 red blasts to fight over Helm with next turn. Found Ancient Tomb. They got big mana as well. Oh god, what's happening? They just went from 3 straight to 6 mana. I don't even mind Chandra Torch of Defiance that much if that's what's about to happen. Fury. Alright, just putting Fury onto the stack as a 3/3. Deal. I'm very interested in Dark Ritual, Ancient Tomb, or Lotus Petal right now, if I can double Red Blast. Or double Red Blast and activate. Oh wow. Do I want to spend time doing this? Probably not. They have to beat 2 Red Blasts. I'm just going to play Helm. Force of Will, pitching Flusterstorm. Counter target spell if it's blue. Flusterstorm's kind of messed up. Are we in? Okay, cool. We did it. Just patience. I didn't cast a spell until turn 4 and then won the game off it. Good stuff. More fetch lands than... Like, game 2 looked like a totally different deck than game 1. Do I want to be oppoing, getting under them? Maybe Kroxa's worse than I thought it was, but it's so good with the looting. I'm not going to Blood Moon this opponent. It's likely their deck has Blood Moon in it based on the number of basics I've seen. And just the colors their deck is. But I think Liliana is better than Oppo Agent. If I'm talking about 3 mana spells anyway, they do seem to care about creatures. Actually going to minus a Fable plus a Liliana here. Just learning more about their deck as we go. Okay, a lot of fast mana and some disruption here. I just need to find a void. Oh, City of Traders. Getting turn 1 dumpstered, but by what? Fable. Right. Could be worse, but okay. Thoughtseize here is kind of awkward because they're about to totally change the composition of their hand anyway. I think I wait on Thoughtseize. I think this is going to be a Trinisphere deck. Or should I get my Lotus Petal? Like the colors of their deck and the card that they've played so far could be like a Hull Breacher deck Faden kind of game plan. Where I don't want to play Lotus Petal. If they're a Trinisphere game plan, I do want to play Lotus Petal. Yeah, I'll just play my Petal. And send the turn. Discarded Flusterstorm. Fair enough. They get treasures off the Goblin, but if they play a land, they lose the City of Traders. They get a short burst of 4 mana, then they're back down to normal numbers. Capitalizing on the short burst. Oh, by casting Ponder. Deal. Ponder did not shuffle, and then they just burnt off their city mana. That's good stuff. Now it's time to Thoughtseize. The card selection is stabilized. I'd like to beat up their hand a little bit. Emrakul the Aeon's Torn. My god. Okay. I'm taking Force of Will here. And I want to Kroxa them. I lose Lotus Petal, but I do get Kroxa starting to build up. Take another card right now. And Kroxa without losing my Lotus Petal next turn. Yeah, I think I'm going to wait on that, because I'll need the Lotus Petal to escape the Kroxa if nothing else materializes before then. They're probably a Show and Tell deck. Is that what Emrakul's doing here? Ponder, Emrakul, 1 mystery card in their hand. They played the Scalding Tarn. There's the Ponder. Did not shuffle. There's a Void. Okay. I can fetch now. Get my Badlands. Play Ancient Tomb and cast Leyline. Now I'm just racing towards the end. I checked their hand for Force of Wills a turn ago. I used my Thoughtseize how I'm supposed to. Now that I have a Void, I'm kind of just off this Kroxa thing. At least temporarily, until they give me a reason not to be. And if they cast Show and Tell, they die to Helm. So please cast Show and Tell. Or that's not true. They get to annihilate me immediately. Nope. Yep, that works. Reflection of Kiki Jiki with Emrakul is pretty something. Certainly something. They've seen Pyroblast, but I don't have it currently. Oh no, they're going for it. They're doing something. Okay, they're just copying their goober. It's fine. This does give them enough mana to hardcast Force of Will. Drawing Thoughtseize or Hymn to Turok is where I want to be right now. Oh wow. There's mana in the pool. Something big's happening. Oh, they're just shoving Fury. Okay. That means they can't have Force of Will because Emrakul is the other card in their hand. They tapped out of mana to bounce my Leyline. Okay. Backup Helm. Well, let's run it. Dark Ritual. Activate Helm. Or activate Ancient Tomb to cast Helm. Are we in there? Hey, all right. Just somehow slow and steady. Pick your spot on the Thoughtseize. If I had Thoughtseized on turn 1, the Force Will might not have been in their hand yet. That was the major decision I made this game. And ended up being rewarded. I actually could have, if I had counted my mana, I could have Kroxa'd first, just knock something out of their hand here, put them to 1 card in hand. But knowing that one of their cards in hand is Emrakul, they basically have a 1-card hand anyway. If they had some way to interact with me, they would have just discarded Emrakul. Yeah, that doesn't matter. But okay, on the board, let's go.
You come here to level up at Magic. To level up as a software engineer, check out the new YouTube series Dev Better, hosted by the founder of 7 Factor Software and Magic player, Jeremy Duvall. 7 Factor's small teams of high-performing engineers build custom mobile apps, APIs, and highly scalable systems for Fortune 500 companies and ambitious startups with great ideas. If you'd like to hire 7 Factor, or maybe join their team, contact them through their website at 7factor.io. And don't forget to subscribe to 7 Factor's YouTube for every episode of Dev Better.
On the draw for round 3, we got our first banger 7 keep. Snap this one off. Wish I'd had a Dark Ritual, but just any mana source gets us the Oppo. We have the Voidwalker or the Hymn, depending on where we want to be, have the turn 0 Leyline. Or everything we do, it just softens them up to Helm. An opponent is mulling to 5. Let's hope this is fucking Reanimator. I get dumpstered by Reanimator when I'm on Nonsense Brews so often that I would love to just turn 0 win with a Nonsense Brew because it happens to contain Leyline of the Void. Let's go. How's your 5-card hand? Okay, that's not what they're doing. Grim Monolith. Okay, what does Grim Monolith do in this format? Come on, Dark Ritual. Oh, Lotus Petal. I think hymning them is better than saving this for any later thing. They mull to 5. I'm going to put you to 1 card in your hand. With Thought-Knot Seer and Vesuva. Okay. Some sort of colorless Eldrazi thing. What remains in your hand? If it's Reality Smasher, you might just die anyway. Chalice the Void. Okay, that's fine. That does hit cards in my deck, but not enough that I care. And they are now completely hellbent. Turok looking good here. There's a good chance this is a Wasteland deck. I'm going to skew towards stable mana rather than drawing Faithless Looting, which I can't cast anyway. So I'm basically skewing towards drawing Kroxa. Land. Uh-oh. Well, this is where it gets sticky and shitty. I just gotta hope that my unblockable 3-2 beats their mono Ancient Tomb mana. The Grim Monolith is actually terrifying. I would not care at all about anything that's happening if it weren't for the Grim Monolith. Hymn to Turok. They left a card in their hand. Oh, I'm gonna cast Ulamog the Ceaseless Hunger. How about that? Oh no, I don't get to do that because when an object is affected by 2 different replacement effects, the owner of the affected object chooses where it goes. So my Leyline of the Void stopped the Voidwalker from eating Ulamog, which I would have snapped off so fast, for the record. Ancient Tomb, let's go. Win the game. Bad lands, okay. Gonna attack for 3, and I am gonna cast a Helm. You don't need all 5 all at once. I can invest 4 now and then get them next turn rather than hoping to draw a mana source next turn. This is 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. They have 10 mana right now, which is enough to Ulamog, but please, for God's sake, don't draw that card. I already cleared one of them. Let me win. Yeah, okay. The mull to 5 into Hymn to Turok. We did it. This is a crazy, scary matchup, though. Blood Moon's coming in. We saw Thought-Knot Seer. Might want some number of Sudden Edict. I don't want to go too skinny on this deck, though, because I think I am just going to have to race them. Kroxa actually seems fine. If they're going to dump out fast mana and stuff, and then leave payoffs in their hand, picking them off with Kroxa and him sounds pretty good. Thoughtseize seems great. So, them being a Chalice deck, I do want to respect that a little bit. I don't know if I need to respect it to the point of bringing in Meltdown. Yeah, there's different levels of respect. There's no respect, which is I just play all my 1-drops. There's some respect where I shave some 1-drops. And then there's lots of respects where I actively bring in Meltdown, which I would have to cut 1-drops to bring in Meltdown anyway, at which point I don't want to bring in Meltdown. I do like having some speed with the Blood Moons in the deck, but I'm just going to shave a bunch of 1-drops and ignore Chalice that way. This hand is not fast, but it is very stable. Opponent kept 7. Ugh, that's awful. Yeah, I think against Loudpost that kept 7, I gotta be a little more aggressive than this with my mulligans. Like that. Yep. Keep this one. I'm gonna put Voidwalker on the bottom. So Voidwalker can actually win the game. Do I want Sudden Edict to protect myself or Voidwalker to actually something under this Blood Moon? I'm going to send Voidwalker to the bottom. I'm going to use Thoughtseize and Edict to keep the heat off me and just try to resolve Blood Moon on a stable board. That's my plan. Oh, they have the Chalice. Oh, no, it's Ratchet Bomb. Okay. I care less about that, but if this game goes forever, that's pretty good. Chalice on 0. Okay, sure. Don't activate your Ratchet Bomb. Yeah, I redrew the card that I put to the bottom. I'm going to Thoughtseize here. All according to plan. Do All Is Dust and a Golos. Wow, you went all in on Ratchet Bomb? Wild. Oh, I'll take the Golos. And Ratchet Bomb does answer Blood Moon. I don't like that. Maybe I can fish out a Ratchet Bomb activation on my Voidwalker. They're worried about taking damage. They drew Eldrazi Temple. Sure. Their Thoughtseize. I'm not in a hurry to cast that. I know it's in their hand. Voidwalker, bring the beats. I both need them to respect Voidwalker enough to blow Ratchet Bomb, and then also I need to draw a land to Blood Moon them. That's what my next ideal turn cycle looks like. There's the Vesuva. Copied Temple. Okay. It's not going how I want. I should have Thoughtseize before I attacked. This is so bad. I just clicked into combat after not drawing a land. But if there's an Eldrazi in their hand... Oh no, I have Leyline. Doesn't matter. Chill out, man. Doesn't matter. Take one of the All Is Dust. I have Ugin. Colorless Eldrazi spells cost 2 less. Yeah, they can just All Is Dust me and remove all my permanents next turn. And then we just die slowly to Eye of Ugin. Ratchet Bomb stayed at 2. Kind of like that. Another Eldrazi Temple. So their hand is just Eye of Ugin. They are clear of everything I've been doing here. Oh, this Ratchet Bomb is such a beating. Slamming Blood Moon after this play would be so rewarding. Let's do something here. Now it just falls apart. We had a good start. They're kind of far away from activating Eye of Ugin still. That's the only saving grace here. What are they doing? Why is Eye of Ugin tapped? Yeah, Eldrazi Temple does not pay for Eye of Ugin activation. Okay. One spell I can cast. All right, Voidwalker, good. If we can blow this Ratchet Bomb, they have been floating it at 2, like they respect my creature. If we can get the Ratchet Bomb to pop and then land the Blood Moon, there's a chance. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They're still 1 away from Eye of Ugin. Their life total is getting low, and they have Ancient Tomb in play. Here's the land. Okay, if I can get them on the hook with this Ratchet Bomb, I'm going to be pretty excited. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, playing Urborg doesn't actually change anything. It doesn't change the amount of mana that they have. They can tap Eye of Ugin for black now, but it can't tap to paper itself, and one of their lands taps for 2 anyway. Okay, they are straight into Eye of Ugin with that. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, yeah. Karn Scion, okay. You want to make a construct? What's the plan here? They're just plussing Karn Scion. I'm going to put Ancient Tomb in their hand and Cloudpost in exile. 1, 2, 3, 4. Doing that, tap them out of Eldrazi Temple, though. Or out of Eye of Ugin. For another land, okay. Do I pressure Karn? Do I care about Karn? Okay, they're just Ratchet Bombing. That's good shit. Oh, it has a Void counter on it? Oh, right, because I don't have a Leyline. In that case, because they popped it before combat, I can Voidwalk and take their Ratchet Bomb. Yeah, they should have waited until I turned sideways on that one. But okay. Deal. I'll cast Ratchet Bomb without paying its mana cost. And then I'll play Swamp, and then I'll play Blood Moon. How about them apples? And the Ratchet Bomb covers Karn constructs while I set up my win here. They played the Ancient Tomb that I gave them, making their first construct. with the new Brothers War art. There's so many constructs now. Oh no, don't draw another All is Dust. You've already played 2 this game. Stop it. Palace on 2. That's fine. They probably should have put that on 4. It stops Sudden Edict, but my plan now is to just race for the end game. Okay, here's Leyline. Go. And maybe I'm supposed to lead on Helm, because that does something. I hope they don't draw other Karn. That would be bad. 2 Thought-Knot Seers. Okay. Yeah, luckily you can't cast those at all, because you don't have colorless mana. Thanks, Blood Moon. Only red mana. Untap those lands. What do you think you're doing over there? Not how we do this. Oh, Ratchet Bomb clears Chalices anyway. Even if they did put it on 4, it just doesn't matter. I can take 3 now to win the game. I'll just leave Ratchet Bomb in play. In case this somehow doesn't work, but I don't know what they could have to stop it. Zap ya. Exile your deck, please. And away it goes. Cool deck. GG's. Yeah, that one got dicey for a while there, but I was able to keep the pressure up with my 2 drops long enough to pop the Ratchet Bomb, and then Blood Moon just did the thing. A little misstep with waiting for combat to blow the Ratchet Bomb. I didn't need it, but having that ability to make sure the constructs and chalices don't beat me was a nice little bonus. Okay, 2-1. Let's roll. We're a few rounds into the video. Thanks for sticking with me. Friendly reminder that if you're still here and having fun, smash that subscribe button. And if you want to play what I'm playing, you can use my affiliate link for TCG Player to support the channel while you shop for cards, and you can try any deck anytime with a cardhoarder.com loan account for Magic Online. All these links are in the video description below. Now back to the league. I'm on the play with Void, Leyline, and some interaction. I am going to keep my hand. And now I'm in a really tricky spot where do I play Urborg, which might enable my opponent to do something and is also wastable? Do I fetch Basic Swamp to play around Wasteland, and then I turn off Faithless Looting? My hand's already perfect. I'm just going to get the Basic Swamp and turn off Faithless Looting until I draw a red source. None of these cards I want to see go away. Life from Loam, Endurance, Prismatic Ending. Okay. This is not going to be a good deck to cast him to Turok against, but I'm still going to do it. I'll take the Prismatic Ending. Life from the Loam in a fair blue deck probably indicates they have 1 or 2 Wastelands. Okay, so I have the Voidwalker here. Okay, I drew the red source all the same. Voidwalker gets to set up him to Turok that cares less about Life from the Loam. They're probably going to fetch in response to this so they can at least get something in their graveyard for Loam and Uro. Yep. Okay, Voidwalker is in play now. One thing that's worth noting, because they got some cards in their graveyard, if I hit them with Helm and they Endurance, they will have these 2 cards in their deck and can keep playing the game. It's like pretty bad. They would need to be pretty far ahead on board. But if they do something like Resolve Minsk and Boo, and then buy themselves 2 turns to plus Minsk and crack me twice, that could actually win the game. Just gotta always respect Endurance when you're a mill deck of any sort. He did not shuffle Ponder. Here's Flooded Strand. Him to Turok time. Let's hit some spells. Into exile went Tundra and Ponder. So they still have the Endurance in the Loam. Dash. I'm not going to cast Ponder. I like this Void effect in play. Cracking their fetch. After the white mana, don't like that. Probably Prismatic Ending in my near future. Bummer. Okay. Helm just got a lot worse, but if... Oh. Helm is the same. Okay. I'm going to fetch Badlands and then play Leyline of the Void here. Now there's 3 cards in their graveyard. They get 3 turns if they Endurance post Helm. Now it's 4. Endurance attacking 4 times by itself is 12 damage. But I guess they only get 1 draw because I untap and Helm them again. Unless they can answer the Helm in between. Okay. Slow and steady. They can Loam picking up 2 lands now. They lose Loam forever, but getting the 2 lands might be worth it. They still have 1 land to play at least in their hand. They did cash in the Loam. 2 lands in the hand. Come on, Mana Source. These don't have Force of Will. I know 3 of the cards in your hand. Can't have Force Blue card with what I know about. Messed up thing here, though, is they Endurance 2 Prismatic Endings into their deck. You draw a Prismatic Ending, which can kill the Helm, but they have to spend their Endurance mana to do that, so no, we were good. Okay. Slow and steady, beating up Band Control. Don't tell anyone this happened. Blood Moon looks great in this matchup. Ashiok, also really good. This is a big matchup for beating up on graveyards and mana bases. Not even sure if I want the Pyroblast. Pyroblast does pick Uro off from play and help force things through. I'm definitely on Blood Moon and at least one Ashiok. This is sort of my hierarchy from right to left here. Blood Moon and Ashiok, then other Ashiok and some Pyroblasts. That's where I want to go with this. Table actually looks great. I think I can slow down. I shave Dark Ritual a little bit. Faithless Looting a little bit. I've been shaving Faithless Looting a lot, which this is the card that Return Explorer wanted to go red for. I'm trying to leave them in, though I do think that is a structural problem with the deck. If you want to play Faithless Looting, I think we need more graveyard stuff, like 3 Kroxas and 2 Crucible of Worlds, or just 4 Kroxa, 2 Crucible. To go in harder on that, because right now it just feels like a really bad card selection spell, which is basically what it is. I'm going to shave a Petal to get a Pyroblast in, and where else do I want to go with this? Hymn to Tarak's only good if I already have a Void effect, because him knocking Loam and Uro into the graveyard is one of the reasons that Hymn to Tarak stopped being a legacy card a few years ago, because Uro was printed. So if I do have it or they don't have Uro, it's insane. I think I'm going to shave a Hymn for a Pyroblast or a Red Blast. And I'm gonna try it like this. Okay. Big Leyline hours. Keep Leyline. They are a deck that uses their graveyard, but they're also a deck that can answer permanents. Snapping off that Flooded Strand. Island Ponder. Yeah. I like this person's style, even if it is currently my life's mission to destroy them. Didn't shuffle the Ponder. Tell me your thoughts. Tell me about them. Owie, that's a lot of cantrips and selection. Only one land. I can't take Brainstorm because they have 2. I can plan around this Force of Will if they think that's going to be part of the game. I think I actually want to take Ponder. Because if I take Ponder, the smoothest thing they can do next turn is Brainstorm, Fetch, Cast Ponder. If they Brainstorm, Fetch, Cast, Brainstorm, then they have another ugly Brainstorm under them, or they have to pass with mana unspent. I'm going to take the Ponder. There's that Flooded Strand, and they just passed. That's what I said was likely to occur. And drawing a second Voidwalker makes me excited to jam the first one. I was thinking about leaving up Pyroblast, trying to stop them from hitting their land drop. But getting this Dauthi Voidwalker in feels pretty good. When I can make the play that I want to make, which is Voidwalker with protection next turn. I really need to find a Kroxa before this Faithless Looting even becomes a card I'm willing to cast. This card economy matters so much here, and going down a raw card to increase card quality. If you're not cashing in on your graveyard, it's just really tough to justify casting. Ooh, ugly little end step Brainstorm. Somebody is either setting up Terminus or just was about to miss a land drop. If you're about to miss a land drop, though, you Brainstorm on your own turn anyway. Or they missed a land drop on the first Brainstorm and then desperately wanted to cast Endurance this turn. I don't know if I buy that, or if they have like Teferi or something. Okay. Where's the Plowshares? Got it. Oh, what's happening? Ponder. They're running out of cards in their hand. They are going to have 4 in hand after Ponder resolves. This mana they've assembled does not cast Endurance. Not shuffle Ponder. Still chilling on Force of Will. Now I'm holding up Pyroblast. Lotus Petal is a card I won't mind discarding to Faithless Looting. Please force this. I'm begging you. Hook that directly to my veins. Nope. No hooks today. I'm leaving up Pyroblast rather than casting Looting now, though. Now they have the mana for Endurance, if they so choose. They can also elbow tap a Prismatic Ending to remove Leyline, which I don't care about because I have a second Void in play now. Did they Minsc and Boo or Jace? That would be pretty brutal. Or Jace is fine. Minsc and Boo is tough. iteration. I think I need to save Pyroblast for the Force of Will. I made my Thoughtseize decision based on that, and now I'm stuck with it. They've already made their land drop for the turn. This EI has to find a spell they can cast if they want 2 cards out of it. Burrow in exile. Yeah, get rid of that. Not that it was going to do much anyway, but straight to exile is better than cantripping. Oh my god. How do you feel about Turok? Want to sing the song of my people? Please force this and go Hellbent. If you force it, I Pyroblast, Turok takes the other 2 cards. Then we're just chilling. Counter target spell if it's blue. Yup. Oh no, do you have Veil of Summer? No, you would have started with that. Definitely not. Press down. Okay. Are you just going to redraw and we'll take 3? That's fine. Yeah, dress down, turning off Dothy. Leyline is still on. It still attacks for 3. They still can't block it. Care about any of this. Okay, opponent is Hellbent, and off we go. They could still easily win this game. The Orc just conceded immediately. You love to see it. Okay, just straight up Leyline graveyard control. No graveyard, no problem. Sorry, 4-color Bant. You know I love you. On to the final round. For the absolute best Magic the Gathering apparel on the market, check out the link in the video description to coalesceapparel.shop, and be sure to use the code BoshNRoll for 10% off when you check out. I'm on the draw with the most absolute heater. I can turn 1 Thoughtseize Voidwalker him to Turok. That's my whole game plan, so it better work, but I'm going to keep this. What we dream about. Wish I was on the play. Please don't Chalice of the Void me. Okay, it is Red Prison. And them leading on Shatterskull means that I get to lead on Voidwalker. I would have led on Thoughtseize otherwise to make sure Voidwalker got in. Voidwalker goes first. Dark Ritual. And I'm going to him to Turok first, softening up their hand to make better decisions with Thoughtseize. The Exiled, Rabblemaster and City of Traders. Let's also Thoughtseize you. I'll take that Caves of Chaos Adventurer. Oh yeah. Okay, they got to draw a 2-mana source, the only card in their hand. Or they have Mountain Rabblemaster, and I could Thoughtseize them again next turn. Mountain, don't rabble me. Yeah. Okay. Thoughtseize you again. Layla. Wow, all these haste creatures. That's actually tough. Layla would be 3/3. I can block it with Caves of Chaos Adventurer. Rabblemaster is 2 creatures. They have to attack. Would get the initiative back eventually. I think I'm more scared of Layla here. And I'm going to cast the Caves of Chaos Adventurer. Get to search my deck for a swamp and put that into play in the Undercity. And I will pass the turn. If they draw the mana source, okay, we are going to have a initiative game here. If I draw, what do I need to draw? Don't even know. We're just going to slam back and forth, exchanging the initiative like maniacs here. What's the alternative here? The Lost Well is Scry 2. I'm making a treasure and a skeleton. Yeah, I think I want a Scry 2 here, not make my creature bigger. There we go. Okay. Leyline on the bottom, Topo on top. Topo on Topo. Now I get to trade with Rabblemaster, block the token, and I just keep the initiative, and we're chilling. Hope you didn't draw Dead Gone. Opposition Agent, get in there. Put blocks. Stabilize against Rabblemaster. Keep the bigger creature, I guess. This deck doesn't really search their deck at all. Also keeping the trample creature. Uh-oh, they drew a spell. Alice on 2. Okay, I mean, card in my hand is a 2-drop. Good call. I can goad or create a treasure. I'm definitely creating a treasure. Nothing to goad right now. They were right to play Chalice on 2, because I would have Kroxa this turn. I forgot there are additional words on this thing. When it attacks, exile the top card of your library. Okay, I can Faithless Looting this turn, putting Kroxa directly into the graveyard. Don't mind if I do. Dark Kroxa and Lotus Petal. Then play my land, flashback looting. Looting, discarding looting doesn't feel too bad. Looting and Kroxa in the graveyard. Okay, off they go. Please don't draw a haste creature. That was the best Faithless Looting we've seen all league. Yeah. Okay. going completely buck nutty on turn 1 with Dark Rituals versus the Chalice of the Void deck that took turn 1 off. Glad that worked out the way it did. That could have gone so wrong. I like Plague Engineer, naming Goblin, an Edict kind of medium, but also maybe kind of necessary. Liliana kind of medium, but kind of necessary. Meltdown kind of medium, but not necessarily necessary. Blood Moon, Pyroblast, Ashiok are all no's for sure. I think this is my hierarchy from left to right. Plague Engineer definitely, Liliana probably, Sudden Edict probably but less, and Meltdown maybe not. And I'll even make a 5th pile for the second Meltdown. On the draw, Dark Ritual is worse, because now they know that Chalice is good. But Dark Ritual is how I keep up with their fast mana. Opposition Agent, this is not an opponent that searches their deck at all. And I'm bringing a bunch of other 3-drops. That's a fine change. Fable is good. Looting for Edict. And if I'm going to resolve 1 turn's worth of 1-drops, would I rather it be Thoughtseize or Dark Ritual? Not even sure. I'll just move some 1-drops out. 2 lootings, 1 ritual, get Meltdown and all the Edicts in. Is there anything that's worse than Opposition Agent? Like, just engaging in combat, a 3/2 body is what sealed that game, and can stuff the Rabblemaster token every turn, at least stymie some of the damage. It can flash in and take the initiative. I don't think that is where I want to be, or am able to be. Oh, if they saw Kroxa, they might bring in Unlicensed Hearse, and it could be a good juke to just not really care about that anymore, or care about it less. Right, I'll leave in an Oppo. I don't know. Run out of time to really think about that one. Well, turn 1 Fable. I'm gonna keep. I have turn 1 Fable against the deck that might want to Chalice me. I also mold to 3, and I have Hymn to Turok in my hand. Oh god. Alright, deck. Tell me the answer here. I think the answer is just Fable. This Dark Ritual, I can't do everything I want to do. Fable at least gets mana continuing, and if they don't Chalice me on turn 2, then Hymn to Turok is live off the Ritual. Okay, looks like just a tough mull to 3. We're getting cash money here on discarding Kroxa, and I'm gonna get a treasure, 3, 4, 5 mana. That gets me Hymn to Turok and Opposition Agent. I'm not gonna need Thoughtseize. Through a land. Good news, everybody. Pack and treasure up. Dark Ritual, Hymn to Turok, put you to no cards in your hand. Rhinosphere and Lavinia, or Layla, whoever that is. And just stick an Oppo. Okay, we might have a non-game here, which is fine with me. Outstomping the Stompy deck. I don't feel bad about. Yep, and they packed it up. Okay, mull to 3, Hymn to Turok you. For a 4/1 with Rakdos Helm. Yeah, my initial impressions on Chrome Mox, I think I would rather have Chrome Mox than Lotus Petal in this deck. And I did give us more tools for Faithless Looting, but I think we want more. Also, if you have a bunch of Crucibles in the deck, you may not need more lands. I'm going to open a new copy of this deck and that we can alter. So this is version 2. Crucible of Worlds. At least 2 of those in here. And we have room for a Wasteland. That gives us 5 real ways to pay out the graveyard now. 9 if you count looting, discarding looting as card advantage, which I guess you can. That one doesn't feel so bad to discard. Dark Ritual's busto, I love that. We're not cutting Dark Ritual, even if Lotus Petal goes down a little bit. I think this is already an improvement. Nothing's been done to solve the removal problem. That round 1 that we lost, our only loss in the league, was to someone who went turn 1 Delver on the play. And that Delver did 20 damage to me, and I died, because I had no way to answer it. If we were to fit Sudden Edict into the main in some quantity, going down to 3 Hymn to Turok is probably a start. Returned Explorer, if you're not married to 4 Faithless Looting, you could play 3 and get a second removal spell on the deck, and you still get to play looting. Also, Fable of the Mirror Breaker is spiritually Faithless Looting, and is also just a way more powerful card than that. That would at least acknowledge that other creatures exist in the main deck, which is probably a responsible way to build your deck. Yeah, from here, it just becomes personal preference, what cards you want to play, and how you want to express yourself as a deck builder. I think within the 4 Faithless Looting, all stipulations met build of the deck, this one is going to make Returned Explorer the happiest with how he wants to build the deck and also win the most matches. If you're more interested in winning matches, I would start cutting Faithless Lootings for more stable cards. And basically, with the experience we just had, the mono black version also is just a great option for everyone else out there who liked what was going on in this league but doesn't want to play specifically this version. The mono black stompy decks are really good, and they don't have to worry about colors or Faithless Looting. Though Pyroblast was an all-star in this league, I gotta say. Okay, I'm gonna leave this here. I'm gonna have this version. I guess I'll just link both versions in the video description so you can mess around with either version you want. This was a lot of fun and surprisingly powerful. Returned Explorer, thank you for sharing Rakdos Helm with us. Put up a pretty good league with it. I hope you have fun at FNM. Good luck out there. Everyone else, thank you for watching. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, check out Patreon, all the other stuff that supports the channel in the video description, and I'll see you next time.